Ocean's 8 is starring the Pacific, the Atlantic, and... No. Ocean's 8 is written and directed by Gary Ross and stars Sandra Bullock, Cate Blanchett, Helena Bonham Carter, Anne Hathaway, Sarah Paulson, Rihanna, Awkwafina, and Richard Armitage. And it is the latest installment in the long-running Oceans franchise, which first began in 1960 with the Frank Sinatra film Ocean's 11, which was then remade in 2001 with George Clooney taking Frank Sinatra's role. It spawned 2 sequels. And this is a sequel to Ocean's 13, which ended 11 years ago. But it's with a completely new cast and even a different crew working on the film. Now, Sandra Bullock is Danny Ocean, who was played by George Clooney. She is his sister, Debbie Ocean. Now, Debbie Ocean is recently released from prison, and she gathers together her crew to pull off a heist and steal all of these expensive jewelry from the Met Gala in New York City. Now, I have to admit, this is actually my first Ocean's experience. I know, I've not seen the other Ocean's movies. I hear they are a lot of fun, and I am looking forward to seeing them. But this being my first Ocean's experience, honestly, I was kind of confused coming into this movie. And you shouldn't be, actually, because this movie, although it is loosely connected to the previously 3 films, it is a brand new story with brand new characters that nobody's really ever seen before, as far as I know. So regardless if you have seen any of the previous Ocean's films, you can come into this one, at least you're supposed to, without any foreknowledge of the previous movies, and you're still supposed to be able to enjoy it and follow the story. Now, the reason that I was confused is because this movie opens so fast. You are dropped into the middle of Debbie Ocean's life and these other characters' lives as well, and the movie takes a little time to explain what is going on. And yes, Debbie Ocean's backstory does come into play a little bit later on and is further explained. But what isn't explained is how all of these people know each other. It is just extremely convenient that they happen to know all of these people. Nor is it ever really explained why the Met Gala is the target of Debbie Ocean and how she is so easily able to bring these people on board. I went and saw this with my family. I asked them the same thing if they were confused in the first act, and yes, they were all really confused. So let's just briefly talk about the technical aspects of this movie. The camera work is fine. Lighting, set design, everything is fine. One of the nitpicks that I had is the transition animation between scenes. They use it a number of times. I felt that to be annoying after a while. I'm sure that is used in the other Ocean movies, but I haven't seen those yet, so I can't comment for certain. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the acting. I didn't really care for anyone's performance in this movie, actually. Sandra Bullock is not very likable, and I guess you could say the same thing for everyone. None of these characters are very likable. They're not very easy to get into. Sandra Bullock constantly has this smug, placid expression on her face throughout most of the movie. Cate Blanchett acts like this tough, streetwise man. Rihanna thinks she is all that. Awkwafina's a little weird. Sarah Paulson, I guess, is probably the best of all of them. And Hathaway is this, ditzy, goofy girl. Helena Bonham Carter is probably the worst because she seems to have no clue what she is even doing in this movie. I guess that's supposed to be her character. She has very little dialogue, and what dialogue she does have, it just seems like she improvised, like she just was completely out of it. Her character doesn't make any sense. Also, another thing about her character is her accent. At first, I thought she was trying to do an American accent. Then I detected her slipping out of it, so I thought she was still trying to do some quasi-American English accent. And then it ultimately became an Irish accent. So it was kind of a combo of all 3. She couldn't decide what she was doing. Terrible accent. These characters are just not very compelling. I didn't find any connection with them, and about halfway through the movie, I found myself not really that invested in this storyline at all. If I can't get invested in the characters, then ultimately the story is not very easy for me to get invested in as well. And then coming to the third act, it felt like a completely different movie. We're introduced to James Corden's character, who is briefly brought in. He's probably the funniest part of the movie. He's one of the highlights of the movie. And then he is brought out of it very quickly. And the way his character interacts with everybody else seems to be this plot contrivance. There's so many plot contrivances in this movie. It's very disappointing how we're just supposed to easily accept, oh, this is how this is. These people are clearly masterminds. They can do anything. They can get their way out of anything. It's a fairly basic paint by numbers type of heist movie. Don't get me wrong, heist movies are really fun, but this one I was ultimately disappointed with, and I'm hoping the other Oceans movies will be much better. So I have to give Oceans 8 5 stars out of 10 with a mild not recommend. But what did you think of the movie? Let me know below, where does this rank for you with the Oceans franchise? And if you like this video, make sure to go ahead and click subscribe right here. Then go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. And hey, don't go away yet. Make sure to stick around. We love discussing film and we want to keep doing that with you. So we've got some more videos right over here. Go ahead and check those out too. You guys are awesome. I'm really excited to see where the future holds with Silver Screen Guide, and we will catch you next time.